Hello and welcome to Business Pod Coaching. I'm Mia Sines, and this is January 5th, 2022. This is our first class. So this is an opening space to review all of our stuff, move forward, look at the overall picture of your business. I would like each of you to say where you're at, what you do, where you're at, and what you're looking to, how far you're looking to go. The reason I'm asking this is because we have longtime coaches, we have beginner coaches. So there's, there's a beautiful balance between all of us, kind of like a dance. All right, so let's start with Megan.
Oh, well, hi, I'm Megan.
Megan.
I am a spiritual educator. I have been since 1995, ordained Unity minister, and now I'm a certified grief coach. I've kind of transitioned away from just doing spirituality in general to focusing in on grief. After my experience, my own really deep, heart-wrenching grief experience from the murder of my son in 2013. And as a consequence, I was led to write a book. So I'm the author of Unraveling Grief, A Mother's Spiritual Journey of Healing and Discovery. And in that, I share my story, but also exercises and ways to process grief that are experiential and supportive. And I have 4 meditative guided meditation links within that. And since I published it, I also have created an online grief healing course that I call Unraveling Grief to Thrive. And so I've been building an online coaching business from that. And I feel like I have the foundation of everything. Feel really confident with what I'm doing, what I have to offer. I have something of value, but I've been really stuck in the marketing process of getting my tribe, of reaching the people that really want to invest in their own healing and transformational work through grief, and recognize the value in doing that rather than just looking for the freebies. So
thank you so much. Lori.
I am Lori Montry. I am an trauma-informed eating psychology coach. And so I dive into the root causes of why people struggle with unwanted food patterns, as opposed to, setting them up with, here's your diet plan, here's, what you should be eating. I help them discover, why is it so difficult for me to make the choices that I know that I want to make. I'm in Denver, Colorado, although my business is exclusively online at this point. And, I just would really echo what Megan said. I really believe in my product, the people that I serve. I feel really good about their progress and all of that. It really comes down to wanting to build my community and my list of people who receive my education. And I feel confident that the conversion rate when I get a hold of them, I feel like I am able to convert them, but it's, where are they in the world and how do I connect with them and bring them into my circle is my big, desire and stumbling block. Used to be.
Yeah.
Past tense,
I
right?
love past tense, right? I love this because this is exactly, and we haven't even finished yet, everybody, but this is exactly why I created this course, because I was frustrated in hiring all these different business coaches, as I've told you guys before, to get one education that I have. And so as a business strategist, all of a sudden I was like, I'm tired of seeing my friends struggle, especially back in around 2009, 2010. You saw a lot of coaches coming online, especially in the relationship or passion industry that I was in, even though I was teaching this interpersonal development stuff, that are no longer around, that are here, then they talk about having to get a job, and then they disappear. So this is why I was like, no more. If I can, if I can create this, no more. So, so yay. I mean, literally, yay. Our network is our net worth, literally. And so it takes us to create that. The list build is what's going to shift and change that. I think it was Megan, or maybe I told all of you, but my first list build, I got like 3,000 people or 2,500, somewhere between 25 and 3,000. And within 2 weeks at the end of building that, I sent out some emails or an email or two, a survey, and then I started calling them into discovery sessions. And I was a Facebook coach where I had a 6-week program. I started out in 2010 charging $3.99, and then it went up to $6.99. And I'm like, I can't live off of this stuff. So fortunately, at that time, I had an income as a spousal support from my husband that allowed me to still live that kind of life. And then once I did this and saw, wow, and I was taught to ask for more and expand out my coaching program so I didn't have to hunt for people all the time. I use the word hunt instead of look for people because that's really what it feels like, either an Easter egg hunt or the rare wildebeest in, in the ocean kind of thing. It's like, it's hard to find. So I'm really happy that I brought this back. This was out, not even this advanced. I shifted. So Business Pod started out with only 4 to 6 people in a pod, which is kind of what we have. And then I didn't teach them all the stuff that we're going to do in here, and they were successful. So I will answer any questions, support you guys, steer you into any direction that you find necessary. So let's find out Anne's. Yes, Lori.
Yeah, I was curious. I've heard that it's much more difficult in the last 2 to 5 years to get people to sign up, even to receive your emails. Is that something you kind of have?
It has. Oh yeah, it has shifted. The reason is every business coach tries to find, well, I don't know about every business coach. A few business coaches that I'm familiar with and myself try to find an edge around how to do something different because we want to be able to not be in that mainstream. So Shanda Sumter, a coach who teaches list build, among some other things, she swamped our industry over the last 10 years or 12 years and has destroyed it, literally. Teaching her method of list build, I was in her program a year, but I only had 3-4 months before I had to, my mother-in-law, my first mother-in-law, who I was a liaison for her trust, I was dying. And so I had to sort of focus on that. So what I learned from her in that short amount of time shifted. So I changed my program to 6 months. I started charging $3,000. I started selling them. On the third one, I moved it up to 5. I kept it at 5 for about 6 or 7 years, 6 years. And then I moved it to 7,500. And the year of 2020, I moved it to 9,000 for 6 months. So now I have gone backwards to support people, because we all have to make a shift here. And I don't know if I'll go back up to 9,000 for 6 months or 18 months. I might, I'm happy in between there. I don't have to. I think 7,500 for my 6-month course is sufficient. So it's all up to you guys. There are coaches that charge, and it depends on your email list and how you bring in your list of people. I'm redoing my list for even higher end. I've had a lot of psychiatrists, therapists, and coaches take my Love Mastery. So what I'm saying with that is I was reaching higher people, right? And when I say higher people, I mean people that can afford the coaching. It's not that anyone is different, but we do want our bills paid. So if we have a product, a course that we want to sell, expose to the world, we want to make sure that it supports us too. And so we do have this rare ability here to make more money than most people in other industries, because what I teach is so unique. It's my life. It's my love. It's my connection to God that brought everything to me from the maybe the moment I was born. I relied on God, as you guys know. And even when I was getting out of that wheelchair in 2009 and the Dream, Believe, Create, or 2008, and the Dream, Believe, Create came from me, I heard, don't study. This is for me. I'm not saying it's for other people. I heard, don't study other people's work because people will get confused. If I picked up a language, since I was born and raised metaphysical, there were a lot of, Louise Hayes was still out, Dr. Wayne Dyer and all that. And people like, you talk like them. And I'm like, okay, but I don't, you know, I've never studied their stuff. So I understand, and I've read the background story like on Wikipedia and stuff like that, that Louise Hayes, which is very interesting. She was a prostitute and a drug addict, and around in her 20s, she found metaphysics through the science of mind, which is an offshoot of Christian Science, which was my original foundation, and then I left that. And that's where she wrote Heal Yourself, you know, and then Wayne Dyer's was through, I believe, also theological education and that. Beautiful, beautiful people, but we are here to change the world now. They're gone, we're here, and everybody likes something fresh and new. So don't ever think, please, that you are not enough in your business world and that what you have is not valuable. We have now 8 billion people on this planet and climbing. So let's go back to the figure of 7 billion. If 5%, which is a very low number and is exactly between 5 and 15%, what the population likes, what you have to offer, 5% of that absolutely loves you. You can utilize this 5%, me as 5% rule, for everything, relationships, money, freedom, whatever you want, because if there were 350, that's 5% of 7 billion, $350 million mates, clients, wouldn't that be amazing if you allowed that to relax you? There is more than enough for all of us. We have to stay out of the mainstream neurotic, psychotic, fear-based that there is not enough, because there's more than enough. And literally, we are stepping into, if you follow history, this is not a conspiracy theory. I was talking to my son about this. He goes, that sounds like Adrian, who is my husband. And I said, no, it's not from Adrian. It's from your mama knowing stuff. And I said, after every war, we've had an influx of economy boost. It's called the good life. Look at after World War II, the 50s were the fab years, you know, going out the late 40s into the 50s. And so we are going to be experiencing something like that. This is a war. It was like a chemical imbalance here. And so China will probably have to pay us a restitution. Whether that happens, I mean, somebody has to pay. And so they will be paying out. The point is everything is going to start to move a lot faster. Part of this was a download process that, before teaching this class in the last couple of weeks, thinking, okay, we're going to start business. I don't want people to be scared. Show me. So this is what came to me. And I've started talking to other people about it who are, you know, talk philosophy and stuff, and they agree that this is what it looks like the trend will be. Now, I'm not talking about you hearing, which I hear people saying, and I don't even ask them what they're talking about because I don't want to get into their stuff. Oh, the money's coming, it's all coming, you know, whatever. I know that if you follow history, there's a certain pattern. So that's like a scientific fact. So we know something is going to change for the better for us. Even if we don't get tons and tons of influx and build, we are going to have a different system that will support us. We may not all be millionaires, although I'm like, I'm going to look into now how to be a quadrillionaire. You know, it's like if there's a new influx of a boost there, we all have the opportunity to create amazing things. My grandfather left Italy when he was 9. That was the last of his education, or I think maybe 5th grade was the last of it. Yeah, that was the last of his education. And he was a millionaire twice, lost everything in the Depression. He was flying an airplane in the 30s and 40s, doing amazing things. And then he got his money again in his company, obviously well over $1 million over through his life. So we can do it, guys. I mean, literally, we can do it. We see other women standing up tall, supporting each other, or even not supporting and making it. So it's really about first getting rid of the fear, so that we can move into a place of greatness. And so use the 5% rule if that supports you. Do your breathing if you start to get panicky about the income or the work. We cannot shine bright unless we are in that place with our clients. So what I'm also saying, any emails out, any correspondence out, we're going to be talking about language and communication too in this program. But anything out, remember, it's about what would love do? Or how would God respond in the kindest, well-adjusted, balanced manner? We take out the emotions because emotion has no place in the business world. So if you're talking to a client and they're freaking the F out, keep it in the unemotional space and the clarity of the way that divine love would teach it. And so, or say it. So that's really one of the most important aspects. I learned that I really brought that forward to practice about 3 or 4 years ago when one of my business clients came on, started pushing me to teacher. I gave her like a bunch of stuff, which is why now I don't, and I separated out within the first week, and then she fired me. And I said, what's the problem here? You have a contract. And so I finally said, you know what, you pay 1 month and you're out. That's fine, you can break your contract. So that's a lot of coaches you'll find will have in their contracts, this is, you still must pay your contract. And I have that in my contracts on the my programs. But if somebody came to me and said, I'm having a financial problem, I have no money, I will let them out, of course. There are coaches that will whip your ass. I know some that I don't even do any of their summits or any that throw people in the credit reporting and stuff like that in small claims court. No. You're teaching love. So stick to what you're teaching, be congruent with who you are. These are the foundations of any professional business. No matter if you're, I had a shirt design company in the 90s, and I gotta think of his name. Ed Hardy came out right before us with a huge income behind him, or a huge business package. We had the same clothing, similar clothing styles with the skulls and the rhinestones, and he made it and we didn't in that business, because we finally said, wow, this is just too hard. We're competing with Ed Hardy on all this. We don't have it. So that's one of the businesses. And I said, okay, let's let it go. You know, let's move on to something. I'll move on to something else. So know your competitors, not in fear, but in awareness. Not in fear, but in awareness. Now, in the coaching industry, you're focusing on your own interior work, what's coming out of you. That's the brilliance. Somebody else's work, or I do have coaches in the Love Mastery, and that's fine because that's an applicable program that they can use within their own teachings. But let's not try to be like, and none of you would be, but let's not try to be like Shanda Sumter, Marianne Williamson. Let's be Mia Sines, Megan Brooks Smith, Lori Montree, Elise, Anne. I won't say her last name because she doesn't like to say it publicly. And hi, you know, let's be us, because that is where the glory is. When I first started here, I was like, I was meant and born to be a coach and a spiritual teacher, but I was afraid that my stuff might not make it. And then I kept hearing this interior voice say, and I wonder where she came from. I think it was all the work I've done, but she kept saying, yours is yours. It's beautiful and unique, and nobody else has it. So I went with that forward in my coaching. I am me and nobody else has it. So when I started saying, started talking about writing posts, emails, texts to people, it's about your speech, it's about who you are, and also blessing it. That blessing is what I want you to also add into everything. Before you hit send, do a little prayer that whoever, like if it's your entire email list, you're blessing it so that they receive it in the intention and love that you sent it. Everybody likes my work, but sometimes my emails are wonky and I can't seem to get them done fast enough to get them off to somebody else to edit them. Let's go, right? So that's something that after 12, 13 years, I'm trying to work on, you know, to slow down and to be able to process it out a few days ahead of time. But I still bless it all, whether it's a text. I have a client that's my pro bono. I always have one pro bono, sometimes two. I'm not doing two this year. I took my 21 into 22, and she's been writing me because she's just had surgery, needs help. I finally said, honey, go to your doctor, because I can't help her right now, you know, but I sent it with love and blessings. And I said, I will reach out to you soon, but go to your doctor. that's also what came through to me was she needed to seek help through medical, not through prayer at that moment. Her body was in crisis and I wasn't able to help her. So do things like that with intention and love. They will receive it. We're working with, all of us here work with spiritual people for the most part. Mainstream doesn't always understand our work. Some do, but not everybody. They might more with Megan's because grief is so universal, right? And her being a minister and that being out there also, that's a positive thing there. So, okay, let's jump to another part. Since this is like explaining all the things that then as we get to know each other, and I also need to go remind me, Anne and Elise, to share your part. I'm not ignoring you. I'm on a roll here, I think. I think as I explained that, it started to go away. Oh, yes. Okay. So your licensings, what you need, what you don't need, all that. So I have an accountant that I've had for 30 years. He does all my licenses for me. Every year he does everything. And great, I just pay him and I don't have to hassle with that. He just charges whatever they charge. And then of course he charges maybe a little bit more for my taxes and all that. So you need a DBA, you need a bank account. You don't have to go corporate until you make at least 100 grand. I'm a S Corp, not an LLC. Ask your accountant which is better. I was put into an S Corp instead of an LLC, a limited liability. Do you know why one would be better for the other, Lori? Lori's an attorney.
Yeah, so basically, if you're an S Corp, and depending on the expenses that you have and some other factors, you can, the profit that you make belongs to the company as opposed to you as an individual, as it would with an LLC. So you can pay yourself a certain amount and only pay taxes on that certain amount. And the rest stays in the corporation and doesn't get taxed until it's taken out or whatever. So it can work for the company without incurring those taxes, which you then pay all the employment and all the Social Security and all those taxes on it as well. So depending on how much money you're making, one could be more, and your expenses and things, how much one could be more beneficial than the other. So it's usually at that higher, point where you're making more money, the S Corp is more likely to benefit you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you
can be different for everybody though.
Right.
Yeah.
And then in an S Corp, you also have to have set up all your payrolls and your unemployment stuff and all that. I don't know about an LLC. I can't speak on that.
Yeah, you don't, it's more simple. The LLC is more simple. So, and especially when if you have any employees or you have other things going on, then the S Corp is usually, not always, a better option.
Thank you. I love that we have her here. So wonderful. I lost track of where I was. Okay, not because of you, because
licensing. You were on the licensing bank account.
Yes.
What we need.
And so thank you. Yes. And so a lot of people say, hey, I've got to get my life coaching certificate. The reason, sorry, I say that because we create something magical. It's different than anyone else. A life coach can never reach my level. No, that's not true. A life coach is not doing what I'm doing. I feel that those who go through the life coaching, it's not a necessary thing. And if you have no coaching experience and no discernment towards it, then absolutely take something like that, or a class on how to, in this class, it's how to close, how to connect, all that stuff. So that's all in here. I do, and excuse me, Megan, because Megan is a minister, which means you went to theology school.
Yeah, through Unity. So I went to Unity's spiritual education program, and I did get a certification as a grief coach just to enhance my other education that I already had.
Certifications are great. But the life coaches, was meaning that it was so popular in the not the teens, whatever those are, the O numbers, 09, oh, whatever.
Early
So
2000s.
yeah, thank you. It was so important to have a life coaching thing. It was a big deal. And I saw all the monkey crap that went along and the coaches that came out of it, that's my personal thing. So because I'm a spiritual teacher as well, I have a minister's license, not like Megan's. And that's why I'm apologizing, because
No, I understand the different routes. And
Mhm.
I actually went through a process to become a licensed spiritual educational teacher
Mhm.
in 1995 through Unity, so I could teach for credit through their process, and then eventually went through the ordination process. So I've actually served a spiritual community,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
that's where I've kind of shifted my direction. And I resisted for a long time because a lot of my colleagues were becoming life coaches, and I'm like, how do you even make a living doing that? It seemed like everybody was doing it, and
Remind me the
is the
income
and
thing.
is the credential even relevant or needed, or does it have value? I mean, so I understand the questioning of all that.
Yeah, so I got my license through Universal Life. It protects me for counseling. I can marry people. So I have thought, over the years, I have thought of getting my doctorate in psychology, and I've also thought about becoming a licensed manager. I'm not sure how, because it would have to be non-denominational, but I had thought, oh, I should go to theology school. But what I do now, I'm so much more ahead of what I'm doing. I just don't know if I can actually take the time to do those other things. So it's what you want, what's on your heart. The reason my spiritual mentor, teacher, therapist, first she was my therapist, and she became more of a mystical therapist kind of thing. They're not supposed to, but she did stuff to shift and change me, because I'm so unique. She knew it. No, she helped grow these aspects. She's the one that referred me in 2009 to go to Universal Life and get it. So I've had it for years. Now, the certifications are amazing and they're great. Some of your clients, I mean, Lori's got a ton of them. I mean, she even went to Harvard. She's got that certification too, that degree. So they're important and they're not important. They're important to educate us. And maybe your clients might ask for references, for proof. No one has ever asked me in all these years, and probably because they think that I'm, 8 feet tall. That's maybe why they've never asked me. And they also see that I walk my talk. So I'm happy to meet with people and tell them exactly where I come from, who I am, and all that, but that's never been necessary in my situation. So we can create what comes into our space. Who wants to see what color panties we're wearing, or they don't care, right? I've always done work on my business to keep the naysayers away and just to protect the light. I work in the light, Elise works in the white light, all of you do. So it's really important to be aware of that, to protect your business and protect yourself. Another aspect of protecting your business and protecting yourself is being so connected by honoring your business. Walking into your office every day and say, good morning, office. This is while you're getting started and amped up, so it becomes a regular thing. Good morning, office. How you doing today? What are we going to do? What are we going to make? What are we going to create? Because it's an aspect of you. Here you are, here's your business. They are together because it is you, especially in this type of industry. It is who we are and what we create and what we make. Now, the money aspect. You can ask anything you want. And of course, just like anything, I used to be an art broker. In 1984 through 85, I bought $50,000 worth of art. I loved art. I would go to auctions, I would go to galleries, and I started buying them where I could get them cheaper and just saving them until I decided that I wanted to sell them a couple years later. I tripled my money. And I think it was, I kept doing whatever I do, but that was my part of my side thing as as it drifted away from being an art broker at the time, connecting people. I also recently, in the last 10 years, have been an art agent and broker of people's work. So I don't just stick to this. I do whatever inspires me that I know that I can do. I have a small micro publishing company. I've had a magazine. So we can create so much. It's not about overwhelm. It's about expressing out to the universe all our gifts. And if anyone needs or would like to use the method of the Dream, Believe, Create process to expand out your awareness into your own business field, do it. If you guys, in fact, what I'll do is I'm going to add your emails that I have, if you don't mind. I'm going to send them to Pablo. I'm going to have him create your login because it costs now, the treasure trove, because I don't want people to, and we'll talk about free gifts and all that because we started with that at the list build. Lori has said, hasn't this industry gone down on our list builds? It has. So there's different ways we can do it. The free gifts is one of them. People would be signing in for my free gifts and then sometimes signing out, which is what they've been doing in the last couple of years since the pandemic. Before that, it just was harder to get people into your shows and your list builds and stuff. There has been a change again, it looks like, increasing more people looking for support and growth right now. So I'm going to have to jump back to one of those spaces. The money thing, as I was starting to say, you could charge whatever you want. It's what people will buy. That's what I brought up the art for. Things are valued at what they're valued at in the common market or what everybody has been charging for it. But really, it's all relative. People aren't going to buy a piece of art unless they can afford it or want it. And at that, they may negotiate. I negotiated. Why wouldn't somebody else? So that's just the law of the land in sales, right? People try to still negotiate. So when you set your price, people either come in and use it or they won't. I have a friend who is also coaching this. Lori and I have a Feminine Freedom Panel, big party event coming on the 21st of this month. And she's one of the speakers, Amy Turner. She charges $1,000 a session. It's about 2.5 hours, but literally she cuts away and clears away her stuff. And so, or your stuff, our stuff. So that's, and I hired her once because I wanted to see what it was like. And I was also a little bit needing support at the time. So everybody charges differently. In regular times, my hourly rate, which I don't even go by hour, I go by 45 minutes, is $500. So I make as much as an attorney or a doctor. You know, I was talking to this doctor, a holistic doctor, and he was talking about money and this and that. I said, look, I make as much as you. I make $500 an hour because I wanted to shut him up because it's the truth. And he's like, wow. And so I don't make $500 times 8 times, times 5 or times 20 because we have 20 days, work days in a month. So building up to that, you can. That's where you get into the higher end, like towards $1 million. I'm not at that place emotionally because of the cancer, but I am heading that way. I've told many people, you guys before, that during the beginning of the pandemic, because I had taken off 2019 and came back in 2020, my mom had died and I'd gone to Sicily and we moved up here. I was making $25,000 a month, every single month until May. And then when I announced cancer, the universe plays with us. My income stopped for a couple months, got some high-end clients who were paying the $9,000, the $15,000 a month. And then it stopped again, and then it picked up slowly, like a turtle. So you can make whatever you want, but you also have to have the audience, the network to pay for it. So that's why in the marketing aspect, we have to market our words, our copy to people who are more high-end. Everybody likes to read high-end stuff. If you give too much away for free, you get the freebie people that just hang on with no money. Now, a lot of us want to support that too. I used to love to support that. Then when we did a survey of my email list grew to 25,000, and we went and we removed all the doubles, triplicates, and quadruplicates of people in there, and it brought it down to about 10. Now, in the last since 2000. So the first bump hit in 2017. I lost a couple thousand. I built it back up, and I've lost, well, this year alone, I've lost 2,000 on my email list. People are coming in and leaving right away. But the ones that really, really, really want you or see the value will buy from you, even if it's the first time. One of our clients in here, one of the people in here, Tiffany, who's not here. Hi, Tiffany, we miss you. She's going to watch this. She was only on my email list a week and a half when she signed up for my manifesting course. And then she signed up for this. So this shows us that it doesn't have to be seven. So the concept is somebody has to see an item 17 times before they buy it. No, if they're thinking that they want it, then they're going to jump when it feels right. So we have to take a lot of the main concepts that are out there in sales and shift the awareness around them, right? Because we are in a different field and we are open to receiving more. So what I've mentioned right now, is there any questions on any of this so far? No, okay, all right.
Well, I just want to say you kind of touched on some things in that I felt like everything is saturated, you know, and then since COVID, like so many people are jumping online to develop things. And so I'm wondering if people are, you know, kind of glossing over more of what's, you know, your offers and what's out there because there's so much stuff out there. So what I'm realizing is there has to be something that gets their attention that speaks to what they're seeking. And how do I stand out that way? So
well, one, you're a minister, one, you're a teacher, right? And two, you teach grief and you have that story of your son's murder. I'm not saying we should push your son's murder forward, but the grief aspect, their weight loss or weight release, grief, love work, business. The love work, unless it's absolutely specific to find a mate in that moment, is usually put by the wayside, meaning that people don't pay for it until they start to do the work. Then they see the benefits, right? Grief, they're in so much pain. If they can hear it, that there's something out there that can help them, like your program, they're going to go for it. They want out of that pain.
Well, I found my book having that kind of gives me some credibility that opens some doors. I'm still trying to find the creative way of them seeing the door.
Right, that's what we're going to do here. Yeah. And like weight release, that is a great industry. And a lot of people say, wait a minute, I'm going to try it myself one more time before I spend the money, before I know that, because I know enough. So we get these little excuses within the human, right? That's the saboteur, the inner critic, the crap that has been built up. So this is how humanity operates in this industry. In the business side, I can make money. That's the most important thing. So even though I could make a ton more money as a business coach, I don't care because my heart is in my love work, right? So we have to know and keep in our awareness, keep at it, know what you're doing is unique, put out yourself to people. When we get into the marketing aspect, and we are going to start to talk a little bit about that in between, so marketing comes about third or fourth, about fourth in the segment, but we're going to bring it forward because I promised you guys to try to help, I promised you guys to teach you the Facebook methods so that you can get income coming through, okay? Any other questions? Okay, Anne and Elise, first, Anne, what is your, I know what it is, but share with us what your business is that you're creating. And it's okay, I know that this is new for you to share it like this, so this is a great opportunity.
Well, I'm starting from the ground floor up. I'm working a full-time job working in technology and sales operations, but the kind of business I have is based on a new healing modality that I created. I am a psychic and I am a healer, but I never actually worked as a healer. And I kept getting downloads of information about creating course content I need help creating course contents. I never actually created a course, but I am a good teacher. And I also am creating my own soul card mapping cards.
Mhm.
They're the soul card, excuse me, it's a new modality called soul card mapping. There isn't anything out there on the market like that. It's different than tarot cards.
Yeah,
It's
and so I've been thinking about that. And let me just share this right now. I think that that's beautiful and perfect. We've talked about this, about getting those cards out, and that they take almost a year, to create and to do this and process it. So here's what I'm thinking. Start to work on it now and get your soul cards digital. Forget the back of the card and the design, right? Get the front, get the words on there and put them. We're going to figure out how to get them out digitally so that you can start to share one a month or one every Monday with your community and your Facebook stuff. And then as you're growing through that before they're published, right? And we'll work in all the details on how to protect your stuff. I also know, you guys, I also believe and know that once it hits the internet, everything is date stamped. So that's one way to track back if there's a proprietary situation where you go to court. Am I correct, Lori, that we can get it that way? Okay, that's what I've gone with my entire, once I've been online. Nobody wants to fight about stuff. You can also get an attorney to close stuff down. I've had that. Not that anybody has stolen my work. That was with somebody harassing me. But I have heard from other, I've advised other coaches, get your attorney on that and close it down. And so one, you can have a communication with them, see if that works. I did it twice. One was with a colleague of mine who actually was working with me, not as a partner, but working for me in some of my businesses. And he was ended up using One January, who's so excited, my marketing tool. And I said, I wrote him and I said, I almost said his name. I said, blank, do we have a problem? And he says, what are you talking about? I said, you're using my marketing stuff. He said, oh my God, I knew it sounded familiar and it was so great. I thought God gave it to me. And I said, no, honey, it's mine. He immediately removed it. There was the self-love revolution. I've had the love revolution and self-love work and revolution for years. The self-love work for my work for 13 years. And then in the 2011 or 12, the self-love was solid, but the love revolution started coming in somewhere in the teens through my classroom. I created that. So there was a man who sent me a friend request in the self-love revolution group. And so I heard, check him out. And so I saw that he was also into self-love. So I was like, I don't know. So I let him in the group. Turns out he created a group, Self-Love Revolution, very much after my stuff. So I said to him, excuse me, but I think we have a problem here. And I told him, and he blocked me. But I did take photographs and stuff before I even contacted him in case he blocked me, his phone number off of his website, all of that. I decided I'm not going to track him down to investigate because that was 2 years ago and it was a waste of my time. Because I also realized, look, I've got over 1,100 people in my group. I've got a huge email list filled. I can tell by his website that he's not as big as me because of how he operates his website. I let it go. It was something that I didn't need to emotionally get stirred up in. So we have to pick and choose our battles, right? We pick and choose our battles in love for us and for humanity. We have to be wise and use discernment. Okay, Anne, sorry, you were on, okay, Lori and then Anne.
I just wanted to add to that. It's obviously more a matter of just who's using it first. So if you have something and you've put it out there and someone else comes along, but they take the initiative to have theirs protected with the US Patent and Trade Office, either a copyright or a trademark or whatever it is, then they can't prevent you from using it in the same manner that you're using it, but they can use it because now they've got it protected. So it's not just a matter of I was first. In a lot of cases, it's, you know, if they choose to go and get it protected, then the fact that you were first doesn't matter. It's just that they can't prevent you from continuing to
And
use
they-
it, but
and
they
they-
can use it too.
And they also can't sue me for
Correct.
using my.
But you can't expand. You
Right.
can only use it to the extent kind of in the areas where you're using it now. So
Okay.
it does limit you a little bit. Yeah, they can't sue you. That's right. Because the time matters in that case. But if you truly don't want anybody taking like the soul mapping and things like that, then you'd want to get it protected, not just use it first. So
Good to know.
Do I need to file a copyright?
Her dad was an inventor.
yeah,
She knows all about
My
that.
dad.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah,
I'm saying.
exactly.
Your dad was an inventor.
perfect. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you want it, if you want, you know, true protection for it. Yeah, trademark, copyright, depending on what it is, and that would suit you better. Yeah.
I can't remember if Love Mastery is. I do want to talk about that sometime, Lori, but I know Make Love Real, we trademarked, and a few other of my stuff. I don't even use Make Love Real anymore because it's like, that's relationship stuff. And right now I'm off of that. So, okay. Thank you so much. Isn't that great that she's here? Okay, Anne, so finish sharing. I didn't mean to steal the show again.
No, I've been like writing out notes, you know, like on my own about how I want my website to look. And I'm also very creative and I'm an artist as well. And so, you know, just carving out the time to do that, it's been difficult, but I'm also receiving downloads of information. So I'm not ready completely yet, but I'm kind of in the raw beginning stages of it. It's not like an established business yet.
Yeah, that's why we work on the course, so that the programming, or not programming, your program and course, because that way you feel it within you. The only way that you can write a good website so that it reflects who you are and what you have to offer people is really thoroughly knowing to your bones who you are and what you do, right? So that's why we do first the program course and then the website. So you're doing it good, right? Keep your notes down, keep all that. That's really, really good. Thank you so much.
I mean, it helps that my father was an internationally known scientist. And so, you know, I had that scientific way of thinking in my family, but I don't completely think like the scientist because I'm kind of woo-woo.
You're the perfect combination. You're a smart ass, not a smart ass, you're a smart, beautiful woman. And also the other, yeah. You know, so it's, you've got it, you're a beautiful package. You've got both sides. Yeah. I didn't mean to call you smart. I was like, badass. That's the word. Oh my God, you're smart and a badass. Okay. I've been.
And also I've come out of my shell. It's, you know, I used to be terrified of public speaking. I'm an introvert. I used to be really shy. I've been working on all this soul work on myself to come out and be able to speak my truth.
Yeah, bravo. And everybody, Anne and I have been working together this entire year. She's gone to almost all my classes, and then she did the soul journey work and the manifesting in this. And when we were talking about her, what she wanted to create, her soul, I mean, it just was really beautiful and clear. It's pretty dynamic. Some of you, 3 of you here are in my Love Mastery coaching program, and Lori and Elise and Tiffany is, and our coach from last year is coming in again to finish up some stuff that she felt, you know, her family had stuff, and I think there's one other person. So we have a beautiful journey. Okay, thank you so much, honey. Elise.
Welcome.
Hi. Let's see. I am a psychic. I've been establishing a business as a psychic for quite a long time. I've had my own personal journey and lots of bumps and disruptions in my life over the years. And now's my time to really build. I really stepped in again, really hard and heavy in July of 20. And
During the pandemic.
July of 20, during the pandemic. Yeah. And it's, you know, it's been quite the road. like I said, I've had this for a very long time and we won't get into all the details, but it's not that I was starting over, but I kind of was. And I've managed to build it actually through the pandemic. It has built where a lot of people's businesses were shrinking. Mine has been building. And through some very huge disruptions in my own personal life that put a stop to things for periods of time, I still managed to build it, which is very exciting for me. This is a dream. This is a lifelong purpose. I know what I'm here to do. I had started manifesting for someone to come into my life. Let's see, I started manifesting that probably a year and a half ago. I said, Spirit, I know what I'm supposed to do, but please help me with the business end of things. Yes, I have a degree, a business degree, believe it or not, but I knew the marketing research end of things, not so much the business build and things. So I started putting it out there to Spirit, and boom, Mia shows up about 6 months later, and things just have evolved.
That was a year ago.
That was a year ago, yeah. And there she was. And it's exactly what I asked for, because there's all the nuances, all the tidbits, all the things like the, list build. There's a lot of things that, I've been in and out of the business world also corporate wise over the years. So I know things, but I'm not in touch, I don't think, in the, if you will, in the current way of doing business, I suppose. And so I also know that during this last year and a half, I've been a psychic forever here, but what's always been very natural for me is the coaching aspect of things. I've been told since I was a teenager that I should be a counselor, psychiatrist, something. It comes very natural for me. And so what I've recognized over the last year and a half of building this business, I focused very much into the psychic part of it, but a lot of my work is still in the coaching realm. In the middle of in my sessions, my psychic session, I'm not the regular typical, I'm not your mainstream psychic. I can do your predictive stuff, sure, no problem, but really my work has always been pushed by Spirit into the realm of the transformational coaching space. And so I'm really, really excited. I love helping people grow. It's just amazing. And so, like I said, I know where I belong. I know what I'm here to do. And I'm looking to Mia to give me the coaching that I need to get there. But also, I really love something, Mia, that you shared. And I've recognized this year, or well, last year, at the end of last year. That's right. We just started this year. I've always thought of the psychic work, that's my income, that's my income, that's my income. How am I going to do it? How am I going to do it? And what's come to be, and a lot of it has to do with me and I having a lot of conversations, is I now recognize, just like she said, I know my purpose is to do this work. It's what I'm here for, but I finally recognize that it doesn't have to be the end all be all of how all my income comes in.
Mm-hmm.
So I am working here, and I have a project going on with someone that's going to be huge. And I'm recognizing that that can be used to fuel my transformational coaching business, that I can still be in my passion, love. And I do plan on it being very successful in and of its own self, but I want the freedom to be of service too, because I find the balance in that. And I think what I know for myself, what I believe I have to share can help a lot of people. And I want to have the ability to be able to do some philanthropic work with it, because I know my mission and I know people need help. And I just, my heart bursts with it. And okay, I'm going to stop because I'm going to get all emotional and la, 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 la.
And that's really beautiful. And that's really beautiful. Yeah. The transformational coaching is absolutely beautiful. I wasn't sure. So I put Elise in my group doing readings because card readings, because she's a psychic. And this was in the, the Self-Love Revolution, the teachers.
A year ago. It's a year ago.
The three of you were teachers in.
Yeah.
Are teachers in it, we're teachers in. And what I saw was, when I snuck into some of her stuff to watch her to see, I do that. I will watch you guys because I need to know who people are, especially in the beginning, right? And I was blown away. I was like, shoot, well, I was gonna say SHIT, shoot, she speaks my language, she's elevated, she's teaching this while she's, doing her card readings for the masses that come online. She has a space on Thursdays, and then she does her table talk Thursdays too, which is about more topics in the higher realm of healing stuff. So really beautiful stuff. You all have beautiful stuff. And then if we want to really get emotional, I'm excited that you are all here because I get to thrive. This is what it is. We get to thrive off each other. Now that sounds kind of weird, but we're not survivors, we're thrivers. And if we can pick up the energy of those in the group and what they're doing and utilize it to help propel us forward in joy and love, it's powerful when you're in an elevated, higher vibration space. So I'm really excited about you guys. I wanted to share briefly about the other two that are not here. Tiffany is going to try to get this time off since she's in this course. She started a job a month or so ago. And so Tiffany, she's so sweet. Oh, I love Tiffany. Tiffany wanted to support people, the dying, in crossing over because she saw that they were struggling, so many of them. So I showed her the vision of what if you could reach them before they're dying? You're not going to help them in hospice. What if you could reach them when they're 30, 40, 50, when they're struggling and really want to be happy and move forward? I shared with her how my mother-in-law was a angry, painful person, and she tried really hard to change at the end, but she struggled for over 24 hours on crossing over. I mean, literally, she'd stop breathing and 78 seconds later, she starts breathing again. And I knew that she was struggling. I had spent 5 hours bringing in a pink and golden light into the room, meditating her through crossing over. You see your dog, you see your mom, going through that. And so it didn't work. And so she could see that starting earlier in life with people was better. She's really thrilled with it. That's one reason why she's in the Love Mastery, is because that love and that spiritual psychology work is so valuable in what she's going to be doing. So that's Tiffany. We have Story, who has a breast cancer foundation and research. She started out after breast cancer with calendars, doing pinup calendars for breast cancer survivors. Such a lovely, this woman has the biggest heart, and she's just amazing. She's my Love Mastery person. So she's going to be in here to get her her website done and all that. So those are all of you are the ones that are in here. It's fabulous. I'm going to start another coaching pod in about 3 months, I think. But this is just really beautiful. The universe has brought us together, has conspired so that we can support each other in moving forward. When I say this, I am still really close with a lot, more than a handful, 2 handfuls of coaches that have remained in the industry that I went through Shanda's program with. We are really close. And so that's what I foresee for my tribe, my people, is to continue to support each other, love each other over the years. Hey, would you like to be on my show? Oh yeah, okay. And here's so-and-so and so-and-so if you'd like to use them, that kind of thing. Make it easy for each other. Extend love in the offerings. Remember, nobody is going to out-success you. If you want to be successful, you will be. It's about keeping your eyes on your paper, you're in your space. Remember when we were kids in school, keep your eyes on your paper.
Can I add something real super quick? I'm sorry.
Don't go off into the other areas, right? Be focused on your own stuff and on you. Yes, Elise.
I just want to add one of the things that I've really come to embrace and really has helped me to understand my spot here, my place, my purpose, and being secure and knowing who I am is I really worked it a lot because I've gone through my own journey, my own self-healing journey, hugely. But I have really learned to recognize, because I did go through that time period of, well, how are they going to be drawn to me, and who's going to really, why are they going to want me? It's so saturated in the field, and da 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 da. Well, I think all of us understand energy and how energy works, and it has become very solid for me. I am unique. The work that I do is unique. My delivery is unique. I'm not saying I'm better. That's not the point.
You've
But I have
connected to that space.
I have a certain way of who I am, how I hold myself, how I deliver. And I know people will be drawn to that, the people that are meant to be. And I know my work is important and can really help. So when we start to think about the saturation of the fields, doesn't matter, because people are not, it's not about me being, well, it's about me being a psychic, but it's not about me being a psychic of, a million others. It's the people are going to be drawn to me. And that's truly what happens. And more, I have clients tell me why they're drawn to me. And it's exactly who I believe myself to be, which is gorgeous. So
You
just
are,
know.
and fabulous, and fabulous. I also want to share that Elise taught me something this year. In maybe August or September, it hasn't been that long ago, she said, can you help me get on the Google stuff, so that I can put myself on there and people can find me? I'm like, no. Because I'm like, I haven't done that. That spooks me a little bit. I'm not autistic, but I have these tendencies that I'm like, if something is, Google is one of them that I'm like, ew, they're such a big company. I don't know. Elise is the #1 psychic in Scottsdale, Arizona now, because she worked it and had people that took readings. She asked them, will you please leave a review? So a couple months ago, she had like 21 amazing reviews. And so ask people how they found you, because it will blow you away. Most people will come from, like Elise, because she doesn't have a big email list, they come from this. But you want to know where your traffic's coming from. A lot of people, for me, have come from shows or my old radio show on Healthy Life. So you want to track where people are coming in. So when I meet somebody for the first time, hello, it's nice to meet you. How did you discover me? A lot of people also say, I have no idea. You appeared in my mailbox, my inbox, and I decided to open you up. And I'm like, I feel weird. I felt weird when I first heard that, because I'm like, I didn't put you there. I didn't know you before this, And then I realized Divine Love does miracles, right? I mean, amazing things. I've had more people say that to me than not. All of a sudden you appeared and there you are. And I'm like, hallelujah, that's right, baby. No, I don't tell them that, but to myself, it's like, yes, that's exactly how it works. So we're gonna talk about, in a couple weeks, we'll get on to the Google stuff. I may have Elise help teach that with me, because I am unfamiliar and I'm going to become familiar with it. And I'll also look at it before then. So let's talk about courses and programs. They're not as scary as you think. Lori, this is Lori's forte. She's brilliant at this. Lori also happens to be my business partner in our mastermind, Feminine Freedom. And so it's a year of divine healing. And oh, right, the course, sorry. So I'm very impressed with the way she actually presents it and puts it out, our information. Know your stuff. #1, know your stuff. Because when you write your processes, when you remind yourself how you want to move forward and create your programs or your courses, you have to know your stuff. Who are you? Write it out. What are the gifts that you have? Soul mapping for Anne, plus other stuff. Elise has stuff. You do, Megan, and I know Lori does. And so write down what your gifts are. Are you a reader? Are you spiritual? Do you channel? Are you love-based? What is your gifts? write them out so you can actually see them, because I guarantee you when you're writing your program, if you've never written one before, you're going to have a close down of fear. So if you know who you are, you can't fall under that fear thing. You can, but you can talk yourself back into the empowered space. Know who you are. What do you have? Megan's got the book. That's part of her teachings. Very important to know exactly what you have to offer. What are your processes? Do you flow? Do you channel? Here's an example. Personally, I went into coaching with ideas of what I teach, and that's it. Each client is unique and different. I meet them on a discovery call. I do an intake, which is, mine is simple. I want to know them. This is in the working field of shifting, transformational of the interior, the inner child, the growth work, the trauma, all that. I ask, were your parents married? How long, or did they get a divorce? Were they happily married or not? Okay. How many siblings were there? Where did you fall in line? What religion were you raised in? What do you consider yourself now? Those are really the basic things in trauma and stuff that you need to know in order to move forward with somebody. You don't need to know what's in their bank account or anything else. And I threw that in to show you the ridiculousness, right, in a healing. So know who you are so that you can know your client. Then from there, I ask them what they need, and we open up in that. I do share, obviously, the love mastery just flows right out of me because I've been doing it for so many years, since 2009. We need to know what our gifts are. I had a show on Healthy Life where I was in 174 countries, and that's one reason how I got internationally known. We do have exposure in here too, and we will be talking more about that down the road. That's one of the things that we've talked about, but isn't really per se on the multitude of things that we're going to process through. But for me, you have to have exposure if you're going to be in the marketing world. If you're marketing your stuff, you can't market out there if you don't have exposure. So we're going to be talking about all different ways of exposure. List builds are exposure. Articles, blogs, vlogs, videos, everything's exposure that you do out there. Hold on, I lost my train of thought. Where I got to pull that string back. Your programs. Okay. So knowing, so I had this, and he's a well-developed coach now. His work is beautiful. But I had him on in 2013, I think, maybe 2012 on my radio show. And he had just written a book. And oh my God, it was the worst interview I've ever done. This man is a metaphysician, has been a practitioner at the Agape for now probably 30 years. All sorts of stuff, really great. But he had to search his book and read through it to answer my questions. And I was mortified on air. And I was like, what the fudge is going on here? And so never again was I going to interview somebody like that. Now, when I've interviewed him in the last 5 years, he's brilliant. I mean, he is on fire brilliant. So you got to know your stuff. You got to know your stuff, because when your client's sitting in front of you, whether they're free or whether they're paid for, they get the same treatment. It doesn't matter. Everyone is equal. So sure of a heck of a lot easier to do it for the money exchange of energy than just sitting there, gifting your services away for free. So know all of that so you can bring forth who you are and what you are. I also used to open up, and I think it's just natural that I do it, but when I first started, before I would turn on the camera to let the person in on Skype back then, Zoom wasn't here, I would give a prayer. I would thank God for this ability to serve him and to support this person in a loving manner. And it was always beautiful. I did have one stalker from a client who was suicidal. This was his wife. And so he got nuts on me when I said, I can't work with her anymore because I didn't know she bought a handgun and that she's still in this process. We need to do a 5150 or get her in treatment. So all hell broke loose. He was a IT guy. He bought a website called mia-signs.com. and had a blog about me for a year, that I was a thief, a stealer, a horrible person. I tried to kill his wife, all sorts of stuff. So energetically, I blocked, I had to protect that. And my attorney said, well, in a year, he's going to have to renew it, and most likely he won't. So, and plus he was also written to cease and desist and all that stuff. But then again, it's about checking him and keeping up on him. I did check on that site probably 18 months later, and there was nothing up there. So there you go. So we do need to protect ourselves. So in course writing, you can have a program written out for you, or you can do it in bullet points. Now, there's different ways to write your course, but basically they're all the same. You need a clear course topic and aim. I'm going to send you this. Your course topic and your course aim are intricately connected. The aim is what you want to achieve to your client. This becomes the aim overall, which supports the course moving forward. Number 2, create clear steps that reach the course aim. So it takes you through how to do those steps. Write information for each step. Number 4, use your written information as a base for visual, recorded, or interactive scenarios. Number 5, save your content in an LMS or website for delivery. So there are different ways to deliver your course. You can do it verbally, and then I have the treasure trove for people to download their stuff. I also have a book that's coming out for people in the Love Mastery course, the coaches, so that they can have it for themselves, and that they can also use it when they're working with others if they need to refer to something. Putting it up. So putting your outlines up on your website, don't do that. I wouldn't do that. What they're talking about are like sales pages, landing pages, so that people will come to your events and things like that. I would never recommend that you publish publicly how you do your course, because then somebody will take your specific proprietary stuff and run with it. We all learn from each other, experiential. So what I learned from Marina, or I might have learned a few things from Marina. She was also my past life regression facilitator, and I went through the course to do that. So, through the all of that stuff. So we do pick up flavors of people that we work with, like people doing the Love Mastery. If they're coaches, they tend to pick up the flavor of the program and use that. That's why I turned it into a certified course years ago, because people wanted to use it. Know your expansion, know where you need your limits. This is about knowing yourself, right? How far out do you want to build your course? How limited do you want it to be out there because you flow? You have to know how you function. I cannot read and talk at the same time looking at a camera. I can't do it. I just cannot be on air. I tell people, I'm not an actress. Well, we know I am. Elise will tell you that. But I can't teach that way. That's not my skill to look like I'm at ease. So I naturally flow. Anne, you were the one that was really nervous about the program course writing. What questions do you have at the moment? They can be put in notebooks, in files, in electronic files, up on a private page that you can send a client if you wanted, that's in your course. There's also, sorry, I'll ask you that in a minute. Again, there are also platforms that you can put your programs on that people can do it automatically, so it can become evergreen. Or even when they're coached, some coaches have it when they're still coaching with you, they still have it on a program like that. There's ones that you can do audio recordings and pictures and stuff, like a webinar that would be a similar course. There's ones that say, turn the page, dummy, or next course chapter right here. There's so many different things. The cheapest one, and I'll give you this tip. So I was on, I've tried Kajabi. I've tried, I had kind of has a few different ones. So Squarespace is not a course writing, that's a website. But my platform was Kartra for a couple years. It was pretty expensive, like Entreport, not as expensive as Entreport, but those ones are expensive, you know, pretty expensive. They might have come down though recently. Kartra was really great. Everybody was just jiving with it. And I found that there were things that irritated me about it that were not as free. Now, I don't do my back end. I have an assistant. I will not do my back end. The only thing I used to do up until 4 years ago was send out some of my emails, not all of them. I can barely send out emails. Actually, I can't anymore because I learned how to send out an emergency email if I needed it on Kartra. I don't know how to do it on my new program. So my new program, I'm saving hundreds a month. I have a business advisor coach. Thank you. Bye, Larry. I have a business coach that advises me on certain platforms and stuff. And so I moved my program course stuff to Samcart, SAMCART.com. Not Sam's Cart with Walmart, but Samcart. Now, Samcart was around when I first started in 2009, and it was super expensive. Now it's I think it's, one of my things is $49 a month, one of them is $79, and one of them is, I think, $20. So if you buy it outright, it's always cheaper. I used to buy my, up until the pandemic, I had always bought all my stuff outright for the year. And so Kartra was like $2,000 outright. Then you've got your calendar and your WPX, which is your hosting and all this other stuff. So if you can buy it outright, do it. Otherwise, they're monthly. Make sure that you keep track of it, because when you're first getting started, you don't want to send out an email from your email responder and then not have it, then not pay it on time, and there's a problem because you're not watching it, and then your emails won't go back. And then people can't respond back to you. That actually happened to me this year because something happened to my Kartra, and we had to also take it off of and put it into Sam's. And then that's why we switched it, because it was having so many problems with the Kartra, including that every single email that came out of Kartra, Mia at womenmakingmiracles.com, would get bounced back by me because everything goes into my Gmail account. And unless I change it to Mia at Mia Signs, it bounces them. So can you imagine when I have to write people back individually? And sometimes I get, 20 a day. And it's like, damn it, I got to make sure that I hit that Mia Signs on the return. Otherwise, it'll come back as an error. And then then people are like, I didn't get my stuff. So I always check to make sure that my emails went out, and then look through your stuff on your emails coming in, that you did not bounce any emails. Okay, be aware of, like recently I sent stuff out by WeTransfer, and I can't remember who. I'll remember afterwards when I get calm and quiet. But oh, it was Tiffany. Hi, Tiffany. Tiffany said, I never received this file. I said I sent it by WeTransfer. She said it expired. So sometimes when you use other systems to send large files like WeTransfer or bigfiles.com, they're free. They have free ones, aspects of them, and you can send large files. You can't always send them on your Gmail or through your Gmail or your business account, because the bandwidth is so big on that video. So if it's over like 20 minutes, 30 minutes, you pretty much have to send it in a different way, like WeTransfer.com or bigfiles.com. And then write your client and say, please download this before it expires, because it's not in my drive anymore. A lot of times you'll find my drive is full on my computer, and I even have an external hard drive. And so clearing out files is really tough for me, because I don't know, what's in it. I don't have time to go through all my old files and stuff. Yeah. So just be alert on your stuff as you go along so that it's easier. Another good thing to do is this is just a little tip here and there. So every month I would check your business email and make sure that all the spam or unnecessary things are deleted from there. If it gets full, you can't send out or receive and you're wondering what is wrong and you're pulling out your hair. So until you have this stuff experienced, it can be very frustrating. So if you remove old emails from your email system, mia@miasigns.com, I have Pablo delete those. They also go into my Gmail so that I can see them, but they're over there. I get rid of them so that they don't clog. I'm going to throw little tips at you guys here and there whenever I see them. So this is just the beginning of the program writing. I've spent time with Anne and Tiffany. Yours, I think, Megan, if I'm wrong, tell me, is your program pretty much already set in place, or are we still going to be working together on that?
No, that's, I've already had clients operating on it, and I
That's
have
what I
it
thought.
on, actually it's called Life Coach Hub, and
Mhm.
it's really inexpensive. It's a little cumbersome. I've had to learn a lot of technology and things, but I found out about it through the coaching program I went through, and so it's a portal that I have set up so a client can go in and sign up, and it's got all the information about. I have 8 modules. I have a recorded lesson, video lesson. I transcribed that into a doc file, and it also has the audio that are
Mhm.
downloaded. And then I can, I've added like handouts and any downloadable things. And then I do a weekly Zoom Q&A for anybody that's signed up for it. And so
Through
once they
this hub,
sign up
through the
through
hub.
the hub, well, I send them the Zoom link.
Yeah,
I think that the hub will actually, I can set that up
I
where it's
think it can be
automatic.
integrated. Yeah.
Yeah, where they automatically send the email as a reminder.
Mhm.
And then I go on Zoom, and then we can have a live Q&A so they can feel supported. Um, and some of the bonuses I offer is maybe a 1 or 2 like personal one-on-one sessions, a PDF of my book
Mhm.
if they haven't bought it, a downloadable meditation links that I've created. 4 of them are in my book that they can access on my website, but I have some others that I can send as special focused themes. But it's pretty much self-automated. So once they pay for it, I have 2 options. One, they can pay me directly, and
Mhm.
then I set them up as an access, and then they can create their own password. And then I also have it set up for how long they have access to that information. So at some point, um, they wouldn't be able to access it anymore. So
Mhm.
whatever they haven't downloaded,
So
they
like
didn't
if
follow
it's
up
a
with.
6-month course, then it's 6 months and then that's it, right? Then they have no access after that. Yeah,
Well,
I've
and I have 8 modules, and I realize that not everybody does a new lesson every week. That some it's
Mhm.
self-paced, so they need more time.
Mhm.
So that's why they have more than 8 weeks to
Right.
process. But that's how I also realized that I needed to develop the back end program
Mhm.
coming from that, because I kind of led them to a place where that what I offer, they're not going to be able to process on their own. So
Mhm.
then I can offer them a year-long program
Mhm.
where we take
A
more time.
secondary advanced course. Yeah.
Yeah, and so
Yeah.
my thought is, because I haven't actually had anybody do it yet, is that I'll create a private Facebook group
Mhm.
for all those people so they can interact, download their assignments. I'll have monthly assignments and downloadable exercises, and then we'll do a monthly Q&A kind of thing. So because you have to realize the value of your time. And
Mhm.
that's where I recognized with coaching that I thought what I was going to do is one-on-one coaching and just fill up my calendar. And then I realized, oh my God, that's crazy. It's taking all my time and energy, and I can only serve so many people that way. But having an online course that's self-paced, that where I only meet with everybody once a week, or I can add special ones, then I can serve more people at once
Mhm. Yeah.
and have more time to create more content or other things that I want to do in life.
Yeah.
Um, and
That's
it just feels more empowering.
That sounds like it's an evergreen where it's set up so that people can start when they want to and then finish, but it's an ongoing
Yes.
thing. Yeah. That's where
I
we
thought
want to
I
get
I
stuff.
thought I was going to create like where everybody started at once, and then I realized that's too hard to manage because people want to start at different times, and you don't want to discourage somebody that's ready now.
Right, right, exactly.
Mm.
Yeah. That's beautiful. That's the way to get your stuff sold online, is to have it evergreen. It's the best way because people aren't pushed or pressured. They can come and go as they want. And then you have your coaching too with it. So that's, do you have a special group that you open up for Q&A for that? You know, like,
Yeah, they get a Zoom link,
mhm,
so it's like like
yeah,
Thursday at a
that's good.
certain time
Yeah,
every
beautiful,
week.
beautiful.
And the other thing, oh, my mind just kind of elapsed for a second there. Um, oh, I have offered like a beta entry program because I charge $2,000 for that, which I have found is pretty standard for an 8 module course. You want to give them enough substance to really be able to process. And I had to work through my own mental, psychological feeling like, oh my God, who's going to pay me that much
Mhm,
for
mhm,
that? And then I'm like, you put a lot of time and effort and work and a lot of substance, and you stand behind your work.
mhm,
I know that it works and that will make a difference for
mhm.
healing and transformation. And so I feel confident in that. And if somebody isn't ready to invest in that, then it's not for them. And I don't have to excuse myself
Right.
or explain it or justify it or give it away for free.
Mhm. That's right.
But um, I do offer it sometimes from some workshops where I do like a 1.5 hour for a small fee kind of thing. Um, that I may offer a discounted rate for anybody just as a kind of a special thing from that
Mhm.
that program.
Good. Okay, good. And yeah, that's beautiful. That's set up really nice. That's very good, honey.
And I
Um,
also realize it's something that needs to be tweaked kind of ongoing.
mhm,
I can go back and I might need to enhance one of my videos.
mhm,
I had to get out of my own way of thinking. It's like I had to perfect things,
mhm, mhm.
and that the video itself, it was okay if it wasn't perfect, that I was
Right,
being real.
right.
But I also was offering something of value.
Mhm. Yeah. It took me a long time not to freak out about my videos. A long time. I used to spend, so when I first started in doing video work and interviewing people, even before I knew how to list build, I used to do these shows. I used to have these shows all the time, but I didn't know how to ask for people's emails. That's the one piece that I was missing, DOI, right? And so, or to have the guest support, like the guest speakers. And yeah, that was a mind-blowing experience to realize, because I didn't know that aspect. That's the one piece that I spent a fortune on trying to get that piece. And when I recognized that, I was like, duh, but we have to gain that space where we feel strong to be able to say, you know, confidently, okay, so this is the way this is run, and we need the emails to go out this day, in order for the list builds to happen. I had to come into the place that I was okay. When you guys first go out to meet with people, whether they want to be on your show and all this stuff, we're going to go through that. I'm going to hold your hand, because at first it's a very frightening thing, because you don't know who they are. You're new to this, and how you get people. Sometimes you're like, wow, well, they're just like up in the top of the field. And sometimes they give you attitude, like, I want to be the first one to air that day, or I want, and you got to keep your commitments to them if you say yes. So everything, the most important thing is that this is your business, your company. Nobody else can tell you what to do. You are creating this. This is yours. And as you go forward, and what I've noticed is I also do the work before. So when I send out those emails, and would you like to have a chat, about a show or something, I do the work because I want the person that I'm connecting to not to have an attitude when they come back. If it's no, it's no, but don't challenge me, which I've not really been challenged. That was one of my first things, like, am I going to get crap from people, how are they going to respond? And back in the early, as Elise called it, what did you call it? The O's?
Oh, the early 2000s.
The early 2000s. Yeah, in the early 2000s, coaching was very much a show off thing, right? It was coaches that were, well, I have $1 million house and I drive this car. And instead of like, look at me and my dog in the Camaro, it's so funny. He's so big and it's so small, that's a joke. It's not like I have a Camaro, so there's a different reference. When I spoke on stage with Marianne Williamson, there was not enough time, the event, there was not enough time for her to get her full amount. So I said, take it from me. And so I stood on this backstage in the wing, waiting to go on. She came on after me. And so I was waiting for the coach to finish talking. Her whole thing, a business coach, was on her house, her trips. And I was like, how is she even on this stage? This is really disgusting. That was January 17th, 2017. And yes, I had seen it for years. I won't say her name. There's a coach that was really big in the transformational, metaphysical, spiritual stuff, and I had her on a show, and I, the rule was you do an email and Facebook or social media posting. She only put it in her newsletter. 25 people signed up, and she was bragging about her 100,000 person list. So not always the bigger name, bigger person goes with you, right? I find that the people that don't have as big a list will work even harder to fill those spaces. They'll post every day. They're really proud. They'll send it out in their emails more times than what you require. The industry, some of them have changed it to 2 solo emails and 2 social media posts. I don't like that. So I tell people, if you want me, it's 1, because I don't have the bandwidth. And I also only require 1 from people, but also for them to send out to their unopened emails. So in the subject line, you'd put something like, did you see this? And then it would still have the same subject line. It's the exact same email, and either you or your assistants could resend it out. So it's about working with the industry on this stuff that got totally saturated. This is why I created different types of list builds. There is the big show list build, which is the best one, because fastest building of your list. There's a gift giveaway. Lori and I created a big party panel. So it's a panel and we're throwing a party. What else? The free gifts on our website, or any shows to hand out or to talk about on Facebook. And if you'd like to learn this process, here it is. This is a free gift for you, and have people sign up for that. That all gets connected to your list build into your autoresponder, because every time you create a product that you want to have it as a free gift, it has to be worked into your website, into your stuff, to trigger it into the autoresponder. Now again, I do not teach backend stuff. I know some stuff about it. I can talk on it or guide people, but I don't teach it because I don't work it. Use your genius for what you're good at, and pay people to do the other. And ask divine love, ask God to send you people that are affordable, that are good. So the going rate, you can get a decent online virtual assistant for $35 an hour. You can get them for 100 that are better, and on up. That's a lot of money. For some coaches, that's as much as what they're making an hour, right? Or for 45 minutes or whatever. So be wise around all of this. I've had where she was, I think, $50 an hour. And then my assistant came back to me, or Adrian said, why don't you use Pablo again? He was my assistant in the very beginning, and my website person, and my graphic designer. And things got hard in Argentina. And so it averages out for me, which I allow certain friends to use him, $20 an hour. This is like, if he was in the United States, he'd be like 150 because he's a coder, he knows how to do all that stuff. He knows how to do all that stuff. So be wise with your investments. There's something called Fiverr, where you can hire to get things and people give you quotes. I haven't used Fiverr in 10 years because I personally didn't have success. There's things like Canva where you can manipulate and create your own posts. I've had no luck on Canva, so I just
Oh, I
sent
have used them.
Pablo.
I've been
Yeah,
able to
a
create
lot of
some
people do.
banners and some things, and you can also upload directly from Canva to Facebook or Instagram or Twitter, whatever it
Yeah.
is you create, which I've found has been helpful for me. And
Do
I've
you
used
pay?
Fiverr, but
I'm
no, you
sorry,
can do
on
it free.
Canva?
I don't
Because
pay on Canva.
okay, because I have Canva, but I have struggled with learning it also. I was just kind of
Yeah.
curious. I haven't dug into it in a while. I just didn't know if you had the paid one or not. That was all. Thank you.
No, and I've been able to upload some of my own images and things and kind of create
Yeah.
things. And I guess I just sort of I kind of hate to tell people this, but I actually was um, um, a programmer for Boeing in the 1980s.
Why do you hate to tell people that? I think that's
because
amazing.
because because they would think that I'm like this tech person that has this scientific mind and I don't, which is why I had to quit doing it because
You're so
I
funny.
couldn't stand being stuck to this machine and doing things and my mind
Yeah, of
was just imploding. And but it was a way to make a living at the time.
course.
And programming has changed so much since then, so it's not even the same. But I, I'm able to go in and figure out things. But I
Cool.
have a limit to that, and
Oh,
sometimes
yeah.
it takes me too long, but I can troubleshoot. I've created two different websites, but like through Wix, but I use templates and then I figure out how to manage it.
I
So,
use GoDaddy for my website because the beautiful thing about them is they are 24/7. You can call them up at any time and talk to a tech, and they will help you
oh,
to fix things on yours. Because, see, for me, technology, I wig out. Like I'm getting better about it, but it takes a long time to learn in that learning curve, and I get frustrated and I hit
it's
a
because it's
wall.
not how we
And
functioned, 20 years ago or whatever. And Wix, I think I've never actually called anybody. I think maybe I've done some chats or something, but I pretty much can figure out things.
mhm,
Um, And
I
it's
usually
like, so
can, but
so there
yeah.
are resources, but I have to say about Fiverr, I have used them a couple times, but it's very frustrating because most of the people, it's like you bid on a job, it's like they say what they'll charge. I did it to create a Media One page for
Mhm.
promoting, also have a Speaker One page. They're usually, I think, somebody out of the country because like you hire them for like $5, $10 or something, and I think they have a certain template of how they're used to doing it. They throw it together and it's like, whoa, that's not what I meant. I will send them my information and then it's like they cut and paste it right in. I'm thinking, aren't you supposed to be a graphic designer with some creative, mind? It's like, and then I
Mm,
have to hand feed them everything I want, which was totally frustrating. And then they have attitude when you want them to fix something.
yeah.
So, I'm sure that
Want to
there's
get in and
there's a
out.
variety in there, and maybe it's you have to pay more to get a more a better person that actually is using their genius to support you, so that you don't. It's like, well, I could have done this myself.
Right.
Right, right.
So building your list of your team, that's considered your team, your graphic
Hmm.
designers, your web people, your assistants. Um, I even consider my platforms part of my team because it upholds my work and all of that. So get a list of your team, also get a list of on that, like a budget, put how much they charge, how much you want them, when they're to be paid, because we need to keep things tracking. There are a few tracking things down the road that I'll share with you on spreadsheets that you can track your clients and the success rate and how much you're closing your rate, so you can see it all in one place. Okay, so we're
Mm.
almost out of time. It's almost 1 o'clock. And again, the program. Got to know yourself and what you feel comfortable with sharing, and also just breathe into it. So for some of Anne or Tiffany or Story, you guys might need more time. So as we begin to work on our websites, we'll still be working on that. Remember, it's in segments, as we're moving through it. So there is a Facebook group, Classroom. I will send you guys an email with that. I will be putting everything that I can in there for you to download, to review, the links for the class, all of that. You'll know to go in there. All of you have access to me. We're all friends on Facebook. So you'll be able to, instantly I'll send, I'll put you guys in there, and then you'll accept your request, and away we go. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So next week is Love Mastery. The week after that is this. I'm alternating my groups. So if you guys need to meet with me for creating a program, questions, reach out to me. Okay, reach out to me. This week is a tight week because the overflow from before Christmas is now. But next week I'm a little more open, or a lot more open, and definitely want to be there to support you. Sometimes phone calls will work for us. I'll let you know which way we need to go in order to support you moving forward. And in fact, I think next week we should also chat about Facebook ads, not
mean in
ads,
2
but
weeks.
us with our posts, right, in 2 weeks.
You mean in 2 weeks?
Yeah, posts to start to bring, and about how to work your personal and business page. We will talk and work on Instagram at some point. Instagram is really for just like TikTok is for kids and 20s and 30-year-olds, even though people my age use it too for business. Instagram is for 20s to whatever, 40s and above, but that's the focus. Us older coaches tend to stay with Facebook, use Twitter also besides Instagram. And I'm working on getting my stuff going on LinkedIn again. People do review me all the time. I've ignored LinkedIn for a long time. Sometimes I'll throw articles up there. But it is a very good place to find clients if you treat your LinkedIn as you do your business, if you begin to love it. So wonderful.
My son is a recruiter for Amazon and their business development program, and he uses LinkedIn all the time. And he was telling me that I need to start using it, but she said you have to show up on it all the time. You have to be present, constantly posting things and building and networking. But it is more business focused. So I realized for getting clients that probably would be a good resource.
And also Facebook.
Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn primarily.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't get Instagram and Twitter yet.
Yeah. Okay. All right, guys. Yay, Ra, this was really good. And any questions, you can hit me up on Facebook, but pretty much just do it with our business stuff to let me know you sent me something if I haven't responded. Do send it to me at miasigns.com. I need to have records of it coming from you, because I always Google somebody's name, not their email, because they might have 3 or 4 emails with me. And then it comes up and I look through there. So I need to keep track of things coming in through one source, one location. So I do business through email, not so much through Facebook that way. Okay. All righty. Have a great week. And
Thank you, you too.
And we'll see you in 2 weeks.